What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, back for another Walmart automation video. And in this video, we answer the question that is commonly being asked below in the question area. And that is Walmart automation worth it in 2022? And if so, why or why not? And my answer is going to shock you because it's pretty much going to tell you that it's not worth it. So you're going to have to listen to this video and find out why it's not worth it and what I would recommend for you to do right now when it comes to Walmart. So I'm super fired up for this video. I hope you're fired up. Let's do this. All right, so I'm gonna ask that question again. Most common question asked below in the question box, that is Walmart automation worth it in 2022? And as I said before, my answer was going to shock you. The answer to that is no, but let me explain why it's no here in a second. But first, if you do want to talk about if Walmart automation is right for you, my email is below in the description area. Reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to jump on a call and discuss this with you. But let's talk about why it's not worth it. Well, the reason it's not worth it is because it depends on what type of automation you get for your store. There's two different types, and I've talked about both types in this channel. The first is the standard drop shipping Walmart automation method. That method is as dead as roadkill. It's not going to cut it, especially in the long run. If you set up this type of automation for yourself, you can almost guarantee that even if you get running, meaning even if you get a store approval, which I do hear store approvals are happening more often than not nowadays, but even if you get past that particular phase of the whole setup and process, you will eventually, without a shadow of a doubt, get shut down. Now, I know very few people that have never been shut down, and typically, if that's the case, it's someone that has had a store for a very long time. So the odds of you getting shut down are almost 99% that you will get shut down. Whether it's just a suspension and they slap you on the wrist and allow you to come back on, at some point later you'll get another suspension, or worse yet, you just pretty much be terminated immediately and they'll hold your funds for over 180 days, which means you do not have access to the funds, you cannot pull them out, and you got to wait 6 months to be able to get them back. Within that time span of you sitting around waiting, Walmart is allowing everyone and their mother to return anything and everything they've bought from you. That includes if you had a serial killer buy a chainsaw, saw up an entire family, and decide to leave a severed finger on that chainsaw, that can still be refunded to their account. So I'm not joking when I say they will refund every single thing. And at the end of the day, you might end up with a negative balance. I've seen this in several accounts, and it will more than likely happen to you if you do choose this route. Now, the second route, and the route that will work, is Walmart two-step automation, which I've been ranting and raving about lately. You can go back and take one of the number of videos that I've recently shot about it. This requires an additional step, and a step that not a lot of people are willing to place in their entire operation. So needless to say, this is a worthwhile cause. This is an investment you should make if you do have the disposable income in order to invest in it. And the reason for that is it requires that extra step. So you are getting a legit store that is shipping packages out of a warehouse, and Walmart can see that there's an address attached to the warehouse, and they can also see that these packages are not coming from any known competitors. So in Walmart's eyes, you are following all the rules, you are following their terms of service, and you are a model seller. So you will be able to thrive in the Walmart marketplace, not only now, but in the future and beyond. Let's talk about why it's worth it or it's not worth it. First and foremost, it's going to be a lot more expensive. And we're talking specifically right here about two-step. The reason for it being a lot more expensive is that there is a couple things that are happening in this type of model that weren't happening in the original model. Primarily, that is the use of a warehouse. So the cost for that warehouse has to come from somewhere. And most of the times it comes from that initial investment that you will have to make to get into the store. Now, the other part of that whole thing that is going to cost you a lot more money is also the fact that there will have to be employees on the ground. And we're not talking about Filipinos that are doing work and are sourcing products from their end. We're talking about people in the USA that have to not only accept the packages, take them out of the box, repackage them, and ship them out to the customers for Walmart. So it takes physical employees, and those physical employees are going to have a salary. So that salary more than likely is still going to come out of your initial investment. And of course, you're going to get a percentage, and we'll talk more about the percentages here in a minute. But all in all, it's going to be a more expensive model because of those two facts. So you've got a couple things that are going to cost extra money, and that money is going to have to be paid for by you, the person that is making the investment in the store. Now, another thing that either makes it worth it or not worth it is just the process of getting the store itself. I've seen a lot of services claiming to be selling you stores outright that are ready to go, that you can already use and already load products up, and most of those have turned out to be a scam. And the reason that I know this is I've talked to a countless amount of you all on the phone that have told me that they've purchased stores and the stores end up being a total scam. They never get the store, and they either have to do a chargeback or they just have to eat the costs that they just shelled out. So keep this in mind. If someone's selling you a store for a price that's too good to be true, it often is too good to be true. More or less what I'd estimate stores are costing is on or around $10,000 for a store that's completely brand new, ready to go, and was approved. Anything less than that should be a red flag, and you should not ever pay that company, or just don't even worry about it. It's worth it more if you try and get the store yourself, even if you have to buy a shell corporation. That way you can submit it as an LLC. Your odds of getting approved, if you go with the right person, are about 70%. And again, it saves you a lot of money not getting scammed and not having to pay 10 grand outright just to get a store going. Also keep in mind, one of the other considerations that you have to make is that the splits are typically a lot higher. And what I mean by a lot higher is in the favor of the service provider. So we usually saw in the old models 70-30 would be the common split, meaning 70% would be you, the investor, and 30% would be the service provider. But these stores are more or less going 50-50 straight out of the gate with about a $30,000 startup. And again, the reasons for that is the reasons that I discussed earlier. We're dealing with the service provider having to have a bunch more overhead, and that is the warehouse and the cost of employees, as well as the turnover and the training and all sorts of things like that. So as a result of all those extras, there's going to be a lot more costs associated with the service providers being able to give you this service. And so that is going to have to be paid for by you, and that is why we have a much higher split in their favor. So 50-50 is quite common, and it's pretty fair in my opinion, considering all the extras that they have to do. So lastly, I just wanted to talk about a big red flag that will usually happen with this particular business model, and that is you should always ask when on a sales call, how many clients do you typically onboard a month, or how many clients do you have the ability to onboard a month? This should be a fairly low number. If they say an unlimited amount of clients or we've got plenty of space, this should be a huge red flag. And that's again because of the simple fact that this model requires warehouse space and employees. And to be able to estimate the amount of employees is kind of difficult for somebody to do right now in the current phase that it's at. So you want somebody that's looking to be having slow growth. And by slow growth, I mean they're onboarding less than 5 to 6 people a month maximum. You don't want anybody over 10 or an unlimited amount, because that is a huge red flag, as I said before. That means that they're growing at an accelerated rate. Therefore, they might have problems in the future, either packing or prepping and shipping out to clients. And at the end of the day, your store could pay in terms of metrics. While you're following all the terms of service with Walmart and all their rules, your metrics could still start to hurt at some point. And this is a potential suspension in the future. So metrics is really important, and this is possibly the biggest roadblock for your overall success for a long period of time. So you always want to make sure those metrics stay in line and that they look really good in the long run. So that's pretty much it for Is Walmart Automation Worth It in 2022 and beyond. And again, if you'd like to schedule a call with me to talk about Walmart automation and or get my recommendations for teams, my email is below. And questions, comments, go there as well. I always personally answer those, and I'll see you guys next time.